So here we are in the editing room, retelling the main story of this trip. I only gave a few points about the bridge, and it really is a pretty neat landmark, so I'd like to do a little bit more. Here I'll kind of do a play-by-play, which I've never done before, so see how this goes. And here we are, just leaving our hotel room, about a block away, and started the cameras rolling to get onto I-75. Now I'll link this in the description, but all the stats and history came from MackMoCycle.org. Nothing special here, just getting on I-75, your regular highway, but it's kind of neat seeing those massive towers kind of appear before you as you're approaching. Now, you just see them off in the distance. Those things are 500 feet above the water, and there's 200 feet below the water. Now, I've crossed this bridge several times in my life, including a few trips on the bike. The first time on a motorcycle was really special. We'd come up on a Labor Day when they host a bridge walk every year, but we got there later than planned, and since it was the 50th anniversary, the crowd was nearly double what they had planned for, so the line for the shuttle service was really long. Thinking we wouldn't get across in time to start walking back, we scrapped plans of walking, but decided since we were here we might as well ride across. And since they had closed half the bridge for walkers, traffic was squeezed down to one lane, and it was going really slow. So we crept along at like 5 or 10 miles an hour the whole way across. Since we were on the bike and not in a cage, it was almost like walking. I like to say it was walking without all that walking. Now, growing up in Michigan, I had always thought this was the largest suspension bridge in the world, but looking at the official website, apparently it's the 5th longest, but we can still claim fame with the Mackinac Bridge being the longest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. The total length is over 26,000 feet, which is almost exactly 5 miles, of which 8,600 feet are officially suspended. The inner lanes are 11 feet wide and made out of grating, and the outer lanes are 12 feet wide and solid concrete. I always say I'm going to stay in the solid outer lanes, but that's where the slow trucks hang out, and I just don't have enough patience for that. Or, as in this case, the outer lane was closed for maintenance, as you saw back there, and you're forced into the center lane. There's always work going on at the bridge. I saw that on Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, and that's a great show. You should check it out. Now, I've never been across in high winds or even moderate winds. It's always been calm and smooth crossing for us, but the bridge is affected by wind and has a lateral swing of 35 feet either way. Now, here we are on the grating. That kind of pulls you back and forth. You just kind of learn to slide with it. It's kind of hard to tell, but we've been going up just a little bit, and coming to the middle of the two towers here is the tallest point of the roadway, which will be 200 feet above the water. Now for some history. The Brooklyn Bridge was built in 1883 and is cited for encouraging people in the Mackinac area to think a bridge here could be done. There was a need to establish something different because there was a ferry service that had failed to operate year-round. Finally, in 1920, the State Highway Commissioner had an idea of a floating tunnel and asked for other suggestions of how to solve the problem of crossing the deep water. One idea included some 17 miles of bridges and causeways linking small islands and crossing in a different spot. In 1923, the State Highway Department established a ferry service, but the demand outpaced the ferry capacity within 5 years, and the governor at that time had a study done to see what it would take to get a bridge. The answer was that it was possible and would cost $30 million. The plan for 2 lanes and 1 rail crossing was revised several times but never got proper funding. Then, in 1947, the state shut down the project completely. Local groups got back together in 1950 and had an official state backing again. They investigated and came up with an $83 million design and planned to finance the project with revenue bonds. Construction finally began after ceremonies in early May of 1954. 5 men lost their lives during construction, 1 in a diving accident and 4 others from falling. Then, just as scheduled, the bridge opened on November 1st, 1957. stopped the camera before we got to the boring toll booth. The descent looks much like the approach, and we were into the UP, which was a very fun trip. Thanks for watching.